This video is going to highlight the famous Stanford prison experiment, which occurred in 1971 in the basement of Stanford University's psychology building. Philip Zimbardo led the study, which was sponsored by the Naval Research Program, in order to better understand aggression in relationships where someone has power over another. This video is going to highlight the study as a whole, as well as the methods and results. The goal of the experiment was to simulate a real prison as much as possible in order to study an accurate representation of the typically aggressive relationship between guards and prisoners, guards being the persons of authority and prisoners being the people that are being controlled. The hypothesis Philip Zimbardo stated says that innate personality traits are responsible for the abusive behaviors that occur in prisons. When looking at previous research, a lot of the work touches on the topic of recidivism. Recidivism is most accurately defined as the occurrence of inmates being released from prison and later returning again due to a new charge. Recidivism is highlighted as being as high as 75%, and Zimbardo and his colleagues wanted to better understand why this percentage is so high. The methods for the study were pretty basic. A newspaper article was published in the area and offered $15 a day to any male who wanted to participate in a mock prison experiment. There ended up being 21 subjects total, 11 guards, and 10 prisoners. These roles were randomly assigned to each person, and the only instructions given to the group were maintain the reasonable degree of order within the prison necessary for its effective functioning. The participants were monitored 24/7 in a Big Brother-like manner. They were video recorded, audio recorded, as well as visually observed. It is also important to note that it was disclosed to the participants that the maximum amount of time any of them would be in the experiment was for 2 weeks, but they could leave at any time, and the consequence for that would not be receiving the money. After just 6 days in the prison, Zimbardo and his team decided to terminate the experiment early. The most dramatic impact on the participants was the reaction of 5 prisoners who had to be released due to extreme depression, anxiety, crying, and rage. In particular, the 5th prisoner was released due to a psychosomatic rash. The guards had been identified as having taken on a hostile and dehumanizing role, rather than the aggressive behaviors that Zimbardo had predicted would occur in his hypothesis. Upon being informed that the experiment was ending early, most of the guards were upset that the experiment was ending because they enjoyed their roles so much and failed to realize the aggression they were portraying and inflicting verbally upon the prisoners. One of the most noteworthy results in terms of the guards' behavior was that when they thought they weren't being watched, their behavior was even more aggressive than usual and involved a significant level of harassment. In conclusion, this experiment has been highly regarded as the most unethical experiment in psychological history. The guards were intentionally given minimal guidelines and were rarely told by the warden or superintendent to cease their behavior, therefore warranting an environment filled with harassment. Although the guards exhibited tyrannous behaviors and acted without regard for the prisoners' emotions or well-being throughout the study, they simply stated that they were playing the role they were assigned. The results of the study ultimately showed that personality does, in fact, control the actions of people in power over those whom are portrayed as inferior. It should also be noted that in the end, the study was deemed to not accurately represent a real-life prison because of the lack of racism and homophobic behaviors that would have occurred in a real prison setting.